So I'm just here packing my gear for today's shoot because we are going on a hike with my brothers, and we're going to hike in a place that has these very long duck boards going over some marshland, and I thought that would look absolutely beautiful at sunset. So obviously I have to take my camera with me. And while I'm packing my gear, I want to talk about today's topic, which is the one camera setting that I think is ruining your photos, and that camera setting is ISO. I think a lot of beginner photographers are afraid of shooting at higher ISOs, and when they are shooting in low light, they are more likely to lower the shutter speed than they are raising the ISO, which in some cases can be the wrong choice. Because there are three settings that control the exposure. There is the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO. But only the ISO has the sole purpose of controlling the exposure, and both the shutter speed and the aperture have a different main purpose. The shutter speed controls the motion blur, and the aperture controls the depth of field. And the effect on exposure is only a side effect. Only the ISO has the sole purpose of controlling the exposure. But I do understand why a lot of beginners are afraid of using higher ISOs, because often they shoot with these lower end crop sensor cameras that don't handle high ISOs all that well. Because I used to shoot with the Canon 80D, and I was so afraid of going above like 800 ISO, because that would introduce so much noise to the photo. But that resulted in me using too low of a shutter speed, which introduced a lot of motion blur in my photos. And dealing with motion blur in editing is so much harder than dealing with noise. Especially nowadays with so many good denoising tools, shooting at higher ISOs is much more justified than shooting at a lower shutter speed. So here's a quick tip for you on how to set the correct shutter speed so you don't get that annoying camera shake in your photos. A common rule of thumb is to shoot with a shutter speed that is double your focal length. So if I'm shooting at 50mm and my lens doesn't have a stabilizer, I should be using a shutter speed above 100 of a second. If my lens does have a stabilizer, I can go a bit lower, but I should stay above the focal length, which in this case is 1/50th of a second. Obviously, you should do your own tests with your own gear, but this is a good starting point on how to set the correct shutter speed. Now you are probably thinking, well, now I gotta raise my ISO and I get a lot of noise in my photos, and that's why today I'm taking this guy with me. This is the Canon PowerShot S110. This is the camera that I started YouTube with in 2015, and all those videos are now gone. I mean, they still exist, they are just private, and they will stay that way for a good reason. So for the sake of the video, I thought I would take this guy with me today to get some good old noisy photos. So watch till the end of the video, because I do have a few tricks for you on how to handle high ISO in editing. So yeah, I'm gonna be shooting with my Canon R6 Mark II with the 24-105 f4 lens. I think this might have been the first L-series lens for the RF mount. I'm not sure though, but it's a good lens. Then we also have a 35mm f1.8 and a 16mm f2.8. Gotcha. This camera is not that old because it does have a touchscreen, so, you know, top of the line, high tech. I'm also testing out this Big Design backpack mount thing. It goes on your backpack strap and then you just mount your camera. Because today I'm shooting with two cameras, so I can keep one here and the other one in my hand, so just look so stupid. If you're wondering which backpack I'm using, this is the Gomatic Peter McKinnon 25-liter everyday backpack, which I got because it has such a good customization, and you can use it as everyday carry backpack and also as a photography backpack. So it just does the job I wanted to do. Yep. So I don't know how much of the actual hike I'm going to film, because I do want to spend time with my brothers without the camera, but I will shoot some point of view, behind the scenes, B-roll stuff at least. And when I get back, I will show you the way I handle noisy images in editing. just got back home and I'm so tired. It ended up taking a lot longer than I thought, but it was so beautiful. At first we went through this nature trail that wasn't that exciting, but later we arrived at the marshes and it was so beautiful. We arrived precisely at sunset, so the timing was perfect. And I think I got some cute photos. I'm gonna show some of them somewhere. I still have to film the rest of the video. It's now 10:30 and I have not eaten since around 4 p.m. so I'm kind of hungry. I went to the store and bought some pizza, so I think I'll just eat that. And then I will show you how I handle noisy images in editing. But first, it's now Saturday and Saturday is a sauna day. Good morning. So that went as expected. After I went to the sauna, I just wanted to eat and sleep, and I knew that if I was going to film the rest of the video, it wouldn't have been great. So yeah, I'm just gonna film the rest of the video today. Let's go. Hell yeah. Alright, so here's my example from yesterday, and as you can see, it's a nice image, but the ISO is at 8000, which is a lot to handle for a camera of this size, but I think it handled it quite well. First we need to establish that I don't consider noise to be a big problem, but what I do not like is this kind of colored noise with the purples and greens, and that kind of noise is what we need to get rid of. I use Capture One to edit all my photos, but you can do this with any professional editing software. So most of you are familiar with this noise reduction tool and the luminance slider, but I don't actually like to use that one because it kind of makes the photo look plasticky and unnatural. So I try to avoid that, but what I like to do is go to the color slider and drag that just a little bit to the right until we can't see any color in the noise anymore, and all we have is this grain. And just with that small adjustment, I think the photo is looking so much better, but there is still something we can do to make it even better. So the next step is to get rid of all the sharpening. Most of these professional editing software like to sharpen your images when you import them, and as you can see, when I disable the sharpening, it kind of makes the noise not look as prominent. And one last cherry on the top is to go to film grain and add some grain in there, because when we are using these noise reduction tools, we are kind of getting rid of the texture of the photo, and now we gotta add some back, and this is also going to kind of mask out the noise caused by the ISO, just like so. So after just making those 3 small changes, the photo is looking so much better, and here is before and here is after. So much better. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other questions about photography, comment down below and I will answer the best I can. Also, if you like this type of content, please subscribe to the channel and also like and share this video, because that would really help me grow this channel. And I will see you in the next video.